To introduce our next legend is a man who has directed some of my favorite animated movies, including Monsters, Inc., Up, also Inside Out. Yes, you love him too. He's earned 9 Oscar nominations, 3 wins, and continues to dream up new ways to tell innovative stories that connect with Disney fans everywhere. Put your hands together for Pixar Animation Studios Chief Creative Officer Pete Docter. Pete, come on out.
First of all, Frank, I'm sorry everyone else got famous presenters. Instead, you're stuck with the guy who does the little animations. So, I have been stressing about this for months. I have rewritten this introduction at least 80 times, and the little voices in my head say, it should have gone for 81. But that's because I really want Frank to know the impact he's had in my life. In fact, it was Frank's work with the Muppets that got me inspired to get into this business. It's no stretch. It's no stretch to see the Muppets inspiration on Toy Story or Inside Out or any of the other films I've worked on. A mere mention of the name Grover. Yeah, see? Everybody smiles. Everybody smiles. Fozzie Bear, Bert, Miss Piggy, Yoda. Each one of Frank's characters immediately stick with you as though you've known them forever, and then they deepen with surprising layers and vulnerabilities. Frank has truly created some of the very best characters in the history of entertainment. As a performer, Frank claims that was not even a career he wanted. So his credits as a director are equally enviable. Little Shop of Horrors, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, What About Bob, Bowfinger, Death at a Funeral. Oh my gosh. They're all hilarious, emotional, and truthful. And I think that's what I would say is most impactful to me about Frank's work, his ability to find truth. I once asked Frank for advice on where his characters come from. And he thought deeply, and after a pause he said, I don't know. And this is such a frank answer, both because it's him being a pain in the hiney, and also it's a revelation into the deepest, most insightful approach to creating, which is don't let the logic drive things. It's not about your head. It comes from that underground river that compels and pulls us towards the truth that each one of us have inside of us, but only we have access to. And I feel that in everything Frank does. Forget what you think you know, let the process and the work speak for itself. So Frank, on behalf of the world, thank you for all the amazing characters and movies you've given us. Getting to know you has truly been one of the greatest blessings of my life. You're now a Disney legend, but for those of you who know your work, you've been a legend all along.
He's one of my favorite people in all of show business.
You know him? Taking Julia, baby.
Virgil is a fantastic artist on so many levels. Performer, writer, director.
Frank has directed many noteworthy films, including Little Shop of Horrors, What About Bob, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Bowfinger, plus the score featuring Marlon Brando in his final performance.
I'm gonna get started up.
Frank includes everybody in the process.
You like this?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The front page! It's on the front page. Hey, who let you out? Get back in there!
I love the character, and I love the process. Performing with Frank has always been one of the great joys of doing this show.
Wanna make it look good there. Must be uncomfortable down here.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Settle those eyes a bit.
I mean, I just couldn't admire him more the way he brought that basically molded piece of foam to life. The subtlety and the nuance of the expressions. you know, Yoda was just completely real to me.
I learned it's not about money, and it's not about fame. It's beyond that.
May the Force be with you.
Frank, you deserve this. You are one of the great directors. You and I have done my best films together. It is a great honor. Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you so much. So nice. I feel like I'm among friends, which is so nice. I find it odd, though, to stand here alone, because no one does it by himself or herself. One doesn't work in a vacuum. So there should be hundreds of people on the stage with me. Beginning with Jim Henson. My fellow Muppet performers and workshop people. George Lucas. My Yoda team, and especially Mark Hamill. And there should be behind me hundreds of crew members, production team, staff, and cast from the movies I directed, with a special nod to the cast to Steve Martin. And through it all, there's someone who was with me all the time, my dear lawyer friend, Joel Baer. And it was so amazing, first of all, to meet Pete. My wife and I are so blessed to have the friendship of Pete and Amanda, the deep friendship. I'm also grateful for having 4 wonderful adult kids who are good human beings. And I'm very lucky to have a wonderful, amazing, talented, loving wife, Victoria LeBon. She saved my life many times. The first time I was ever in Disneyland was the late 1950s. Disneyland is very meaningful to me. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and after the terrible time in Europe, they waited for 5 years to get a visa, and my brother and I, they immigrated to the United States, ended up in California. I'm so amazed to think that my brother and I played in bombed out buildings in Belgium. And then about 10 years later, we played on Tom Sawyer Island. So it is very meaningful to me to be in Disneyland. There's so many people want to thank, but I can't do that all here. When I was, oh, I'm sorry, I just forgot what I was going to say. I was so taken by your reaction. I got emotional.
people here look at me as a success, and I guess I am, but I used to have very low self-esteem as a kid, a teenager, and into adulthood. I hid myself. I was frightened to be who I was. It's taken me a long time to allow myself to be who I am. And I don't want you all to wait until you're 80 years old. I want to give you a jump start. Don't hide who you are.